As a $400 billion industry, the staffing sector has proven to be robust in both bear and bull markets. In fact, its overall expansion of workers and revenues has helped many global economies recover. Enter Staffing 360 Solutions and their high-growth consolidation strategy. Staffing 360 is an emerging public company engaged in the acquisition and integration of U.S. and international staffing agencies. The company grew from roughly $1 million in revenues in 2013 to more than $100 million in annualized revenues this year as they continue to acquire new businesses. Needless to say, this is a major inflection point as the company continues to grow. I want to welcome AJ Cervantes, the company's vice chairman and president. He's the founder of Staffing 360 Solutions and CEO and chairman of Trilogy Capital Partners, a private equity firm. I also want to welcome Darren Minton, executive vice president of Staffing 360 Solutions and president of New York-based Trilogy Capital Partners. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about Staffing 360 Solutions and what you guys do.
I came to the industry through the private equity side of the business, and when we did an analysis several years ago, we recognized that the staffing industry, being highly fragmented, offered tremendous opportunity for a consolidation model. And when we began to do a deep dive on the industry, we realized that there's a deep pool of prospective acquisitions, and there's known valuations, private valuations to public valuations, that made it very attractive from a consolidation perspective.
So you're the founder of this company. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah, my background's actually very agnostic. I've been in lots of different industries, been in the capital markets for over 30 years. And through all of that experience, what happens ultimately is you, presumably through that experience, you learn to recognize value and opportunities on various industries. So when we started this company a little over a year ago, as you mentioned, we were annualizing less than $1 million a year. Based on our most current quarter, we're now at $130 million. Our publicly stated objective is $300 million in revenues. And we've also acknowledged publicly that we have over $300 million in our pipeline of prospective acquisitions. So the company's had extraordinary growth. It's been fast, but it's been well structured and well valued, very clean transactions, and we've created a stellar management team in the process.
So Darren, you have a considerable background working with public companies. Can you give us an overview and describe what makes Staffing 360 Solutions stand out amongst other microcaps?
Certainly, Erica. I think with Staffing 360 Solutions, one of the primary differences between it and a lot of the other public companies is simply its depth with its management team. With AJ Cervantes, he has a considerable background in the capital markets, been working with Trilogy Capital Partners since he founded it in 2003. We also have Brendan Flood, who is the former CFO of the Americas for Monster.com and TMP, part of the Consolidated Group. We also have Jeff Mitchell, who is our CFO, who just came on board this year. Considerable amount of experience, done about 40 M&A transactions in the space, was formerly with Select. And so I think the thing that differentiates us most from other small cap companies is simply that depth, the bench that we have. A lot of other public companies, even if they are in the staffing industry, may only have staffing industry experience. They don't have the capital markets expertise. They don't have the financing expertise that we bring to the board. So I think it really kind of brings everything together, as well as the fact that we are looking to grow very quickly, as well as uplist to NASDAQ as soon as we can.
Can you give us a few examples, Darren, of the metrics you use to track sales?
Of course. Some of the primary metrics that we use for ourselves and for our investors are EBITDA, so earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a very important metric for us because that's how we actually acquire our companies. It's all based on a multiple of EBITDA, as we mentioned earlier. So a lot of times we're acquiring these companies for a 3 to 4.5 to 5 times EBITDA, and then we're able to kind of arbitrage that opportunity because our public company is able to trade around a 12 times EBITDA number. So for us, that EBITDA is very important. It's critical, and it's also what our investors look at.
So you mentioned NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange for how you have structured your board. Do you plan to uplist soon?
It is something that we're looking at extensively. We've had several board meetings about it, and it's exciting for us. Currently, as AJ mentioned, we're an over-the-counter bulletin board company. So we are publicly traded at this time, and our ticker is STAF. but we're not on one of the senior exchanges, and that is a goal of ours. We've grown rapidly over the past year from 1 million in revenues to 100 million, as AJ mentioned. And we're now at the time where we can uplist. We meet almost all of the requirements. We've been in direct contact with both NASDAQ and the NYSE. And really the last remaining checkbox they need to take off is getting our next quarter, or our next yearly filing, I should say, which is termed a 10K with the SEC. So once that filing is made, our application should hopefully be submitted to both the NYSE and NASDAQ, and hopefully we'll be listed by the end of the year.
Where are your current metrics right now, and how do you expect them to change going into 2015, Darren?
So some of our current metrics that at least are publicly disclosed are top line revenue. As we've mentioned multiple times, we've grown significantly over the past year from 1 million to about 100 million in annualized revenues. So that's the primary metric publicly that we've stated. We've also released guidance for our next upcoming quarters, our next 3 quarters. We'll have about 28 million in top line revenue in the next quarter. And you annualize that out, those are some significant numbers that we're looking at. So that's what we've released publicly. We do expect our EBITDA and our net income to be positive in 2015 to 2016 as we take care of some of our corporate overhead, but we'll get into more of those details, when we finally reach that road.
And it's fairly clear that Staffing 360 has set a considerable growth trajectory. How does the company plan to fund these acquisitions?
It's really a combination of sources. Initially, we did significant equity placements to finance that. Now that the company in 2015 is moving into positive cash flow, we're able to support more debt service as a result. So we're very focused now on moving into mezzanine financing as opposed to pure equity as part of the process, and working with a number of different investment banks, many of which are New York based, to accomplish those financing goals.
So in summary, what should listeners take away from Staffing 360 and its buy and build strategy today?
We think investors are challenged at end of day to find public companies that have the ability to go the distance, that can grow substantially. And if growth is one of the primary metrics for determining value, this is Staffing 360. As we've been discussing, we've had extraordinary growth in a very short period of time. While there are no guarantees that that growth will continue, at end of day, given our publicly stated goals of over 300 million in revenue, given the fact that we have a very substantial pipeline, we believe that growth will continue. So even if an investor isn't interested in taking a position today, as Darren said, STAF is our symbol, we believe that sophisticated investors should watch this company and watch where we go, because we think it's ultimately, again, an extraordinary growth story, and we think as a result be highly successful.
Okay, AJ and Darren, thank you so much for speaking with us. We look forward to talking with you again soon with further updates. And if you want to learn more about Staffing 360 Solutions, you can visit www.staffing360solutions.com.